It's a power surge is what I
Move
heard.
Dan, or move, who do you want to sit next to?
Oh, you know, it doesn't, easiest is to move Dan. You only
Yeah,
gotta move
that's
one.
the easy one. Whoops, I just threw Bob the other way.
We're sitting there to say, I had carrot cake, I admit it. A little goofy.
Bob's not here. Did you know that, Bonnie? Bob's not here.
Oh, no, I did not.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
He let me know, apparently he didn't let anybody know.
Open for a quick
Where's your
one.
bin for your stuff?
I didn't realize Dan was back from vacation already, or is he?
Yeah, I have to admit, I forgot to make
wasn't
that
here
call
last week.
yesterday.
Right.
I wasn't aware of the exact dates. I just
That's
was
not
told
like
that the only two that were missing tonight was gonna be Bob and Cheryl. So I don't know, there's Tom, so we've got 4 of us. I don't know, anything we do has to be 4, right? Anything we vote on has to be 4, even though there's 5?
Not necessarily.
Some things are elected and seated, some things are
So
present, all
majority
right.
present on some things.
All right, well, we'll have to try to figure that out. I guess I better turn my phone down and the X-Files will start to go off if somebody
You
calls,
seem really lopsided kind of this way now.
especially while my kids are fighting.
I guess I could have moved us all over one.
Apparently I need to sign these. Did you hear from Dan at all?
I have not. I thought he wasn't leaving until tomorrow, and then he'll be gone for like 3 weeks or something.
Oh, and I'll be gone that first meeting in March, the 7th. That's not vacation though, I'm just be out of town.
Going on around.
I have time off. I'm on like 18 days straight of working. I don't get time off. Are you kidding? It's tax season. I was gonna take Friday off.
Days off. Won't be through.
I was gonna take Friday off because Monday's my birthday. But I have things I
Hello, how are you?
It is a big one.
Got your picture in the paper today.
Ken has decided to do
What did I do?
nothing for me.
You talked about
Hear that, Bonnie?
law?
What?
Or the
Nothing.
food for
Ken's
thought?
doing nothing. He did nothing for Valentine's Day and he's doing
Did they
nothing for
treat
my
me right?
50th birthday. Completely ignored twice.
I didn't have much to say to him.
He's on the list.
Only you know what you
We
said.
have
You
to
know what kind of
celebrate
list?
Valentine's Day.
These are pretty effective.
I think you said
We
you were
didn't,
gonna
he
vote.
did nothing, and he said he's not gonna do anything for my birthday because we're busy.
These are very effective programs. We've had.
He'll
lots
do
of
so
success.
good.
No, I won't. I guarantee it.
You know, I don't know what else you want me to tell you.
He's a guy, Bonnie.
I know. Oh, I'm hot. Yeah, we gotta turn the fan
Not
on.
a negative.
And yeah, you're right, it doesn't make me happy.
Chris, remember,
Right.
when you talk, you gotta pull that microphone back.
We're gonna wait just a couple minutes and see if Dr. Lathrop shows up. Don't know?
Do you know this place?
I can
don't
call
know
him
this
and see if
place.
he's on his way. Let me call him.
I think that's an exaggeration.
I know John Roth tried to call him today and he didn't answer, so.
Sounds really loud, doesn't it? I need to find her one, I can't find one.
Outside and see if I can.
Still the quorum. We still have a quorum.
That'd be something if your last meeting was canceled.
My wife,
She'd be happy.
daughter was on the phone for 2 hours.
No, we'd make you come back
An hour
as
to get the IT department trying to get my tablet to work.
Cancel.
Oh, no.
And now nothing looks, everything looks completely different, so we'll see how that works.
Well, that's not good.
Gene, you bored him to death.
Your daughter knows computers, though.
She does pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't.
They must have heard the rumor about you. They knew what
We
to
may
say.
be doing this without it.
When we lived out
We're
where
missing
we lived,
two?
I had to recycle. I recycled everything.
3?
I'm trucking you over here because I don't know if Dan's going to be here.
You want me to move over or?
No.
No? Do it
Oh,
Sunday.
wrong side.
Move Sunny. Never.
Thank you.
Okay. I left him a message, so I don't know.
I wonder where he
To
is.
text me.
I guess.
Who knows what'll happen. All right, are they ready in the booth? Yes? Okay, well, I guess we'll get started with 4 of us. So we will call to order the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners meeting for Wednesday, February 21st, 2018. If you could please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Bonnie.
Wheelock,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor,
Here.
Klaus,
Here.
Crawford.
Here.
Lathrop's not here, and Johnson and Gorfulet have already been excused,
Okay.
so.
Thank you. We have approval of the minutes. We have the minutes of February 7th, 2018, and February 14th, 2018, the special meeting. Anybody have anything on the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the minutes of February 7th and February 14th.
I'll second that.
Moved by Commissioner Wheelock, supported by Commissioner Mayer. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Move on to first public comment. Bonnie, will you read the rules, please?
Any person shall be permitted to address a meeting of the Board of Commissioners which is required to be open to the public under the provision of the Michigan Open Meetings Act. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following board rules and procedures. Any person wishing to address the board shall state his or her name and address. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, same matter excluding time needed to answer commissioners' questions, if any. The chairperson shall control the amount of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. The chairperson may, at his or her discretion, extend the amount of time any person is allowed to speak. Public comment will be solicited during the 2 public comment periods noted in Rule 5.4 Order of Business. However, public comment will generally be received at any time during the meeting regarding a specific topic currently under discussion by the board. Members of the public wishing to comment should raise their hand or pass a note to the clerk in order to be recognized and shall not address the board until called upon by the chairperson. Please be respectful and refrain from personal or political attacks.
Thank you. Does anybody would like to speak at first public comment today? No one's jumping out? Okay. We will move on to approval of the agenda. Does anybody have anything that they would like added or removed? I think, Jean, did you have something to add?
To add? I don't believe so.
Did Nate have something to add? You talked to me today. Did you have something to add to the agenda or no? Yeah.
Yes, we'll...
No?
Which loss?
The current one? No, we don't need nothing.
We don't. Okay, sorry. I was mistaken. Anybody else?
Madam Chairman, I'd move to approve the agenda as provided.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Wheelock, supported by Commissioner Klaus. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. Move on to the consent calendar. Bonnie, will you read that for us, please?
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted, receive and file, or approval, is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. A, receive and file. Number 1, Northern Lakes Community Mental Health Minutes of January 18th. Number 2, Conservation District January Report. Number 3, Medali Park Business Plan. B, approvals. Number 1, amended purchasing policy. Number 2, 2018 hauler license. Number 3, dental services agreement amendment number 20 renewal. Number 4, ballot printing.
Okay, does anybody on the board have anything to remove?
A3?
A3, Okay. Anybody else? Anybody from administration? Anybody from the public have anything they'd like removed and discussed? Okay, do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the consent calendar with the change of moving A3 down to, would it be new business, number 11? Or?
Well, we move to number 8.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
8.
okay.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Mayer, supported by Commissioner Wheelock. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to the special order of business. Jean?
This is an application that is through the Chamber of Commerce Ventures North, and it is the Regional Revolving Loan Fund. You have the overview of the application in your packet. Laura Galbraith is here, and Karen McIntyre has also been involved in the application process. So I'll turn it over to Karen to introduce Laura, and Laura can give an overview of the project itself.
Good evening, Commissioners. Karen McIntyre, Community Development. This evening, the public hearing is pertaining to Community Development Block Grant Revolving Loan Fund that Venture North has been administering for us under an agreement between the MEDC, the county, and Venture North. This evening, this is with regard to a working capital loan for Food for Thought, and that is located in the former Long Lake Elementary School. Laura Galbraith, who is the Executive Director of Venture North, is here, and she's going to give you a further overview and a little bit more information on the project and the application.
Thank you, Karen. I'm Laura Galbraith. I'm the Executive Director of Venture North. We do have a loan program. We have about $6 million in funds that we manage, of which $1.5 million is through the Grand Traverse County CDBG Loan Fund. We have been able to help 3 businesses thus far with this loan program, and would like to report that they are all in good condition. They're meeting expectations and repayments, which is great. The balance right now on the loan fund is $700,000, and so with the loan request from Food for Thought, which is $245,000, we will still have almost $500,000 available to Grand Traverse County businesses. The good news is we do have to have continuing activity on an annual basis, and we've been meeting that metric with MEDC, so the funds will remain local here in Grand Traverse County, which is also good news for businesses in the area because they are able to take advantage of this program. So I do have a few representatives from Food for Thought here with me tonight. I have Kristen Ellis, who's the Finance Director, and I also have Lee Dake, who's the Operations Manager. They're right here. So if you have any specific questions about the operations of the company, I at least have somebody to go to answer those questions. The loan fund that they're applying to, as Karen had said, is for additional equipment and working capital, so which is an approved use of the funds. We base eligibility on the number of jobs that the business is going to create over a 2-year period. So there will be 7 full-time positions that will be created, of which 51% of those will be available to low to moderate income individuals, which is another metric of this particular program through HUD. The types of machinery and equipment that they're going to be purchasing is a mechanical jar inverter, new kettles, bottle washer, a buffer cooling, conveyor tables, box taping, label machine, and other miscellaneous equipment that they'll use throughout the manufacturing process. We had the CDBG Loan Committee meet on Wednesday, February 7th, and the committee unanimously approved the loan request. Karen McIntyre represented the county. The other members of our loan committee are our local attorney for Venture North, who is Scott Harvey from Parker Harvey. We have 4 individuals with specific finance and economic development experience. And then MEDC also participates in the call, but they do not have a vote on the project. They just make sure that the proper due diligence has taken place for the project. Tonight, The purpose of this public hearing is just to inform the community about the project itself, see if there's any questions. The primary objective of CDBG Community Development Block Grant is to eliminate blight and to create jobs for low to moderate income individuals. And as I said, there will be 7 full-time positions to low to moderate income individuals over the course of 2 years, so it qualifies. The next steps in the process after the public hearing is the county must provide a brief description of tonight's hearing. That includes the date of the hearing, the number of citizens that attended it, and a summary description, and any substantial comments made at the hearing. And there also needs to be a resolution passed, and that would identify the proposed project, the funding request, a statement that it's consistent with Grand Traverse County's Community Development Plan, a statement that at least 51% of the beneficiaries of the project will be low and moderate income individuals, and that no project costs will be incurred prior to the formal loan award. And then finally, local authorization that there is the identified representative from Grand Traverse County that's able to sign the application, the loan exhibit, and also the payoff requests. So with that being said, if there's any questions on the project, I'd be happy to
Do
answer
we
them.
open the public hearing at this
Yes.
point?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll open the public hearing at 6:43.
5:43.
That's what I meant. Okay. Does anybody have any questions before we bring up the representatives at all, or any questions of Laura? No?
No, I think, this is a building that's sat vacant for probably 8-9 years, close to that now. They've done a lot of work in that building. I haven't personally been in it, but I drive by it every day. And there's been a lot of workers there, doing a lot of work in that building. So it's a great thing to repurpose a piece of property like this. And this is a piece of property that has never been on the tax roll, or hasn't for a long time. So the fact that it's repurposing a piece of property and adding it to a tax roll, because as an elementary school, even before they were annexed to Traverse City, they did not make tax payments to Grand Traverse County or Long Lake Township. So I think most of the community is pretty excited to see this happen, and some of the local businesses are getting involved, I hear, so that's a great thing. So I'm excited to see it happen.
Tom?
I think this is a very positive example of economic development in our county, and I'm glad to be part of it. I've been following Food for Thought for a long time, and I think you have a great operation, and I hope you're successful.
Okay. Do we want to hear from anything you want to say for the good of the cause or anything? No?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we are definitely excited to be able to add value to the facility and to certainly bring in revenue to the tax rolls and provide a new facility for our folks to operate in. We're passionate, passionate about being able to enhance local and within the state of Michigan, farm to table, farm to institutions, that being hospitals, schools, etc. So we're really looking forward to being able to grow our business through this project and in this loan, so that we can achieve the goals that we're really seeking to. We've laid out for all of our key leadership in the organization. So appreciate the community support. We're looking forward to it.
Sir, could you please repeat your name for the public?
Lee Dake, Operations Manager at Food for Thought.
Okay. Do we have any members of the public that would like to speak on this particular matter? No? Okay. I will close the public hearing at 5:46 and bring it back to the board.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the loan for Food for Thought.
Actually, it's approving
The resolution.
the resolution for the, if you read the
page
top of the
52.
resolution.
Okay, I don't have that right in front of me.
It's approving the resolution for the Community Development Block Grant Loan Fund application for Food for Thought.
Okay.
Got that, Bonnie?
Yep.
Support.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Mayer, supported by Commissioner Klaus. Any further discussion? I think it looks good to me. I like that they're using our local products, they're making local products, they're serving it to local institutions. It's good. It's all good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, there you go. I'll sign everything as soon as I get it. Okay, we will move on. Items removed from the consent calendar. Have the Medali Park business plan. Tom?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Christine if, I'll wait till she gets to the podium.
Hello, Commissioners. Christine Erickson, Director of County Parks and Recreation.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm interested in why you are choosing to change the name of the park. Is that, what's the story there?
It has been recommended that we do that to reflect what's going to be going on there. It'll be a trailhead, designated as a trailhead for the Boardman Lake Trail, and that's just a suggestion. We're going to look into it. I'm not even sure that we can do it.
Okay. Is this a family name, Medali?
I'm not sure of the history of where it came from. We got the park from the Road Commission.
Okay.
So I certainly could research that, though, for our Parks Board and let the
Yeah,
board know.
especially if it's a family name, it has something to do with the, where who owned the property originally.
Right.
Is a good guess, maybe, so.
That would be definitely a consideration, too.
Yeah. So, no ideas as to what you would change it to?
No, not yet.
You just want to have something in the name that states the purpose of the park, or?
Right, and like I said, that was one of the suggestions. The business plan, like the other business plans, some of those things are aspirational or things that we have to research.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always going to mispronounce it when I say it, but that's no reason to change it.
Well, you're pronouncing it properly.
Oh, good, yeah.
A lot of people mispronounce it. I think it took me about a year.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's it. I just wanted to know what brought that on, and if it's
Okay.
if there's this family history to it, it might be worth saving, so.
Right,
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you. You might as well stay up there because you're up next anyway. Yeah, do we have a
that's right.
motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar for the A3 Medali Park Business Plan.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Mayer, supported by Commissioner Wheelock. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, done with that. Move on to departmental items, starring Christine again. Parks and Recreation, your master plan.
Our master plan. Commissioners, before you have it's a draft master plan, but it's as final as it can be without some pictures and some forms and a few maps for the DNR. Some of those items I'm still waiting on. However, we are on a deadline. We have to submit this by March 1st. Everybody else in the state who is on the same 5-year plan as us, most of them, I know Garfield Township is on the same cycle as we are, most of them use this month of February to get all of the approvals and resolutions done, so there's an expeditious time frame there at the end. We aspired to have it done sooner for you about a month ago, but then I was sick with the flu and then out at a conference, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but we fell behind. And John Syke, who worked with me, our former planning director, we had to adjust our schedule and back it up a month as of December anyway. So before you, you have our nearly finalized master plan. It basically is a compilation of many things that you've seen, including the Medali Park business plan that's in your packet today. Other business plans we've put before you and put in your consent calendar as they were finished, usually in December or January of the following year that it was finished by our business development team. And those plans are developed by our team to try and get more revenue for our parks and to make plans for improving our parks, again, with the idea of generating more revenue, such as adding the campsites to Power Island, things like that. Otherwise, it is composed of park descriptions, and it has, I think I pointed out to you, there are about 10 pages of projects, and many of those you've known about along the way, but they're all in one place for you to look at. to include in our master plan in case we want to seek grants through the MDNR later on. So this is a process that's followed over the course of a year or half of a year. In our case, it was over 6 months. And the point of it is every 5 years, we go through this exercise to submit this to the DNR, and then we'll qualify for granting opportunities to improve our parks and make these things happen, things that are in our business plans, for instance. In fact, we have some grant requests out there right now for the Boardman Lake Trail and Medalley Park. So I would ask that you please consider approving this. Before, I just want to let you know or remind you of the timeline of this. This kicked off back in September when we had our joint Board of Commissioners and Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, when I presented to you of the descriptions of the parks. And we also had slides in there devoted to our master plan. We let you know that we were going to be working on it. In October, we announced public input meetings, and I invited all of you and the public at one of these meetings. I did the same thing in November. We had 4 total public input meetings. We also put an online survey out there in October, and we pulled that off toward the end of November. I believe it was up there at least 6 weeks. We had 327 responses to that. And then in January, we started our 31-day, it's supposed to be 30 days, ours was 31, period for review of the plan that you have before you. I received no comments except for one of our parks commissioners about it, so I don't have to change much of the body. They're just some typographical changes and some grammatical changes, and I'll summarize those in the final plan. And actually, I'm sorry, that period started January 12th. The 31-day period. I did, or so I thought, send you an email when I sent one to my Parks Board letting them know it went live for the public to see, and I, unbeknownst to me, had the wrong address for you that I'd received a year ago. So I probably have been sending things to you all year that you have not received. And I probably should not have sent it to you that way anyway. I should have used the process in place by administration now where they would share that information with you. So, if you did not see it, I know that you did know about it throughout the process. We issued press releases, we advertised on Facebook, we put this information on our webpage, including a copy of that plan, and the 31-day period ended with a public hearing last week at the Parks and Recreation Commission regular meeting, and they approved the plan. They've seen it for 2 months. It's been in their packet for 2 months. They approved the plan and asked that it be adopted and recommended to send it to you for further adoption. And then we can submit it to the MDNR, and then I will put a final plan in your hands with all the extraneous things that are outside of the body of it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and hopefully I'll be able to address them.
Anybody have any questions for Chris or Ron? Go ahead.
I did go through the plan, and a lot of good information in there. But the couple things that concern me regarding the plan is the survey that you mentioned there.
Right.
70,000 registered voters and 327 people responded to the survey. And I'm going to just take a minute and go through the items that I looked at. The one survey, use of Grand Traverse parks. Please tell us about your use of these recreational sites. And I'm going to just list the percentage of the people of that survey that never visited the site. Howe Arena, 28%. Keystone Complex, 54%. Maple Bay, 63%. Medalley Park, 53%. Meyer Property, 90%. Nature's Education Reserve in the Boardman River, 24%. Power Island, 50%. Twin Lakes, 32%. Vasa Trailhead, 30%. Senior Center in Traverse City, 46%. Senior Center in Acme, 94%. Senior Center in Kingsley, 95%. Senior Center in Fife Lake, 98%. Senior Center in Interlaken, 94%. Now, these are people that never visited the sites or knew about them. This is the same sites to list the importance of those sites to these 327 people. Senior Center in Traverse City, 37%. And this is low importance to no opinion, is what I'm reading off. 30% of these polls had low importance on the Senior Center in Traverse City. Acme Senior Center, 74%. Senior Center in Kingsley, 75%. Fife Lake Senior Center, 74%. Senior Center in Interlaken, 72%. And again, this is, of the survey, this is low importance and down to no opinion. Beitner Park, 61%. Civic Center Fields Grounds, 12%, which means 88% had put it on a higher importance. Easling Pool, 34%. Howe Arena, 42%. Keystone Soccer Complex, 46%. That's low importance. Maple Bay, 51%. Medalli Roadside Park, 57%. Meyer Property, 81%. Low to not important. Nature's Education Reserve, 19%, which is good. There's 81% of the people polled think it's a higher importance. Power Island, 32%. Twin Lakes Park, 38%. Vasa Trailhead, 22%. Now, these same people polled, should the county acquire additional parkland? Which statement best reflects your answer? 75% of them believe we should have more property. That just contradicts what they told us early in the survey. So I would, I guess, just caution going forward of jumping on any new properties, because the people aren't using the properties or visiting, they just want to own them. They just don't want someone else to own them, is what I get out of it. You did provide us with some real good information that I wish, you know, and I didn't take the time to be involved with this. But in reading it, with this question, should the county acquire additional parkland? If on this page, if it would have had that the state already has over 65,000 acres of land in Grand Traverse County, 156 inland lakes in Grand Traverse County, and over 19,000 collective surface acres of inland water-based recreation and public access points. The people would have at least had to question, gosh, do I really think now that we need more? That's my comments. Just, I appreciated the report to be able to go through it, because it does have a lot of good information in it. Thank you.
Well, actually, that's a good segue, because there are differences between the former 5-year plan that we had and this one. And the former plan was much more elaborate, and it did include plans to acquire more property and to build new facilities. And those have all been removed from this. Now, we have our business plans that have improvements. Maple Bay, for instance, someday, if we were able to get grants and things, and once the Traverse City to Charlevoix Trail goes through there, we would want to refurbish that barn if we were in a position to do that, but we would have the Land Conservancy obviously help us with that, and it will be a multi-use revenue-producing facility. But I think that's the most expensive or largest endeavor that we've included in there. So we don't have plans to acquire more property. We want to, the philosophy of the Parks and Recreation Commission is that we want to make the best out of what we have and do the best with what we have for the community. For instance, the Civic Center, you assisted with the playground there. We have the new playground there. There are other plans that we have in the works to take some of those old buildings and make better use of them. Norte is interested. We can do a lot of that with volunteer and grant work. They want to have an outdoor classroom for youth cycling at the Civic Center. That would bring some improvements with it in terms of signage for cars going in and out of there, things like that. So we want to really do the best with what we have rather than go outside of those confines. So I appreciate what you're saying, certainly. And the survey, we have no control over who responded, or it's so random, and I've kind of been given a hard time about it by a lot of people because it is so random and non-scientific, but that's what surveys are. We couldn't have predicted that.
But it is the people that were interested enough to fill out the survey.
Right.
And you did have indicated on what townships they represented.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was nicely done, but I truly think that it's a I don't think it's an average of the people, because I think that out of this, out of the 70,000 registered voters and having that few, a lot of the people probably just don't care.
Right.
They don't care.
Well, we've never had a promotional, we haven't had the appropriate funds allocated to promoting our parks. We just started branding ourselves 2 years ago, and that's part of the issue. We want to see usership build at all of our parks and have them used by families and visitors alike. And it's unfortunate because we do have these beautiful properties. As you know, many of them we can't return, and they need to be used and appreciated, and I think the time has come for a lot of that to happen, and that was taken, that's in mind in that plan. Also, now I just lost my train of thought. Oh, we had the community input sessions, and those were much better because we had the one-on-ones and the true park users were there. It's very flat when you have an online survey. However, the playground survey I felt was much more successful. We had 1,000 responses, and I felt like that was more realistic for whatever reason, because it was more specialized, I suppose, as opposed to being so broad. But that is also an exercise we go through. That online surveying is an exercise we go through as part of this plan to let the MDNR know that we're asking the right questions, and so that they know what direction we're going. And like I said, there are no plans to acquire property by parks, certainly. So the DNR will know that when they see this.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
Also, it was interesting seeing that, along with the parks, but there's 128 places in Grand Traverse County that you can pull alongside of and get out and sit, or toss a frisbee, or, I had no idea.
That's why people move here.
That there was that many.
The city has 33 or 36 parks, so, but ours are pretty special. And we're very proud of this plan, and I'm excited to push it forward and to keep moving in the direction that the Parks Commission has wanted to move in for the past 5 years.
Go ahead, Sonny.
Well, I think it was a very good report, and I do appreciate the opportunity. One of the things that has always been an issue for me when we talk about parks inventory is, we have county parks, we have city parks, we have township parks, and the other piece that gets left out most of the time is the taxpayer-funded facilities that the schools have. Mm-hmm. Because the taxpayers pay for those facilities, but they're not available to them on a general basis. So, that's always one of those things, when we talk about an actual parks or recreational opportunities, we have a lot of facilities in this community, but not necessarily all of them are available to everyone.
Right.
And, somehow or another, we have to get to a point where we actually can come up with a true inventory and figure out if there isn't some way we can use these. I know in previous years, I was involved in a program looking at some parks expansion, and we went to some other communities where the gymnasium was open Tuesdays and Thursday evenings or something for kids just to drop in and play basketball. When my kids were younger, or maybe they were younger, but I think I was younger too. We used to use Westwoods Elementary to do drop-in basketball with a number of the kids from the community. But we always had to pay for that. It always come with a price tag, and somehow or another, that I think the schools should be a more active partner in our community recreation than they are.
We could certainly seek that, too. We haven't had the time or the resources to do that, but we have had relationships with LEAP and things like that in the past from TCAPS. And the DNR encourages that, certainly, and that's a big component of some of the plans that you see out there in the state of Michigan. And I do know, if it makes you feel any better, the Senior Center does use some of the TCAPS properties for tennis and things like that for overflow, and I don't believe they charge us. So that's something.
Tom, go ahead.
Well, as the county commissioner that's on the Parks and Recreation Board, I like everything about it, and I've looked at it more than once. I think you could maybe have one page of highlights at the beginning just to really exaggerate or show off in a way, what some of the accomplishments have been or what some of the new things are. Somebody who's going to look at this from the MEDC, that this is new, this is what's new in this plan, this 100-page plan or 200-page plan.
I like that.
Yeah, just to sort of highlighted it. But also, as the member of the Parks and Rec Commission Board, I'd like to take this opportunity to make a motion to adopt the plan for the 2018-2023 Grand Traverse Parks and Recreation Plan.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Mayer, supported by Commissioner Klaus. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, there you go.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Very welcome. Thank you. We'll move on to our Drain Commissioner. Is he there? There he is. For a Cass Road Drain Project update.
Thank you. I'm going to give you, pull up the PowerPoint. Hang on a second if we could get the TV screens.
Just aim it and we should come on. You have to aim it at each screen.
Oh, at each screen?
Yep.
There it is.
Hey.
Okay, once again, Steve Largent, Grand Traverse County Drain Commissioner, here to give you an update on the Cass Road Drain Project. Let's see. The purpose is to provide just an overview of the drain project, Cass Road Drain Project, and what to expect, what the county can expect from an expenditure standpoint for upcoming when we go into construction. This is how a petition project works. You have your petition, which was initially received in 1987 for Cass Road. Then you have a board of determination, engineering and scoping decisions, and then final order determination, and that's about where we're at right now in the process. Is the final order determination, bid letting, and then the day of review. Just to remind you folks that we have 13 county drains, official drains. 2 of those are lake level drains, Duck Lake and Silver Lake, and so each one of these had to go through a process very similar to what that outlined. The Cass Road Drain, like I said, was established back in 1987. is when it was originally constructed. In 2015, the Road Commission filed a petition for maintenance and improvement due to flooding along Cass Road. The deficiencies include in the back of the parcels along the industrial park on the east side, there's severe flooding, overtopping of retention basins, and along Cass Road, and then imminent failure of the railroad crossing of Miller Creek. Looking back, this is the Granger building. I think this is around 2008, 2009. When it flooded, Granger eventually moved out and pulled their operations out of here. These pictures are just from this last October, end of October, right around the beginning of November. This is the same building, which we call Ground Zero, basically. This is the Great Lakes Malting Company and also Milk and Millwork building. They were flooded out from some, it really wasn't an extreme event either. So what we're looking to do here will alleviate this flooding issue here. This is out behind Eichenhout. They're stocking their yard. It's roofing, but so it should hold up to the rain. But unfortunately, their packaging of those products are probably compromised, and so you can just see some of the flooding that's going on and the reason for this project. The first problem area is in behind those buildings along. You can see from this picture here.
Whoops.
What'd you do?
What'd you do? Oh.
Just kidding. You can see from this picture here. And of course it's not working. Anyway, in behind those buildings, you can see the mall, which sits up behind, just underneath where the left-hand label. You've got a lot of impervious surface up there that goes into infiltration basins. Then from there, it goes down into the groundwater, near surface groundwater, and then into the lowest point, which happens to be in behind these buildings. And there's persistent flooding behind these buildings because of inadequate outlet due to grade issues. Once you get down to that level, you don't have much grade then, which goes down to Miller Creek and the Boardman River. So you get seasonal flooding there. The second area is along Cass Road itself, the impervious surface from the roofs and from the parking areas, and so we need to improve the outlets into wetland and then into Miller Creek and the Boardman River for that stormwater, to give it a place to go. The other problem is, as I mentioned, was the railroad crossing. This has been identified as a crossing for probably close to 30 to 40 years, 3 or 4 decades. The culverts are undersized. There's upstream on the upstream end, this is the outlet end, but on the upstream end, it's collapsing and actually has partially plugged the inlet of these culverts, which is causing a backup of water upstream as well, which is contributing to this flooding event. We're right now soliciting some environmental quality incentive program funding that's available to the Grand Traverse Band, up to $200,000 that we're working with the band right now to be able to apply to this project. And so we're hoping to be able to secure that money to help reduce the cost to the taxpayers. When you revise a drainage district, Public Act 261 of 2013 allows for drain commissioners to update the district with engineers' recommendations. In other words, an engineer has to lay out the revised drainage district boundaries. I cannot do that myself. Lands can be added or removed from the drainage district. This is the proposed district boundaries. The area that you see in the white is the original drainage district boundary. And as you can see, we're enlarging that because obviously when it was first done in 1987, it was not done properly. We're looking at all contributing areas, all contributing properties to the Miller Creek and to this drainage area that's contributing water. Revisions required due to previous districts were based on larger parcels that are now split. Drainage patterns change, roads, developments, and we have more accurate surveying technology today. After the final design and project scope, then I'll enter a final order of determination. I'll bid out the project, which we're looking to do here within the next month or two. I'll compile the costs with the engineers, and we'll have a day of review and apportionments. Spicer Group are the engineers of record for this project. Then we have apportionments based on the derived benefit. The apportionments must equal 100%. If the Drain Commissioner reduces someone's percentage, someone else's must go up. So it always has to equal 100%. The assessment levied is a percent of the apportioned multiplied by the project cost. So let's say, example, a property is given a 5% apportionment, then that will be 5% of the total project cost. Apportionments, like I said, must equal 100%. Townships, villages, and cities receive an at-large assessment. So Garfield Township will be assessed an at-large assessment for public health, welfare, and safety. MDOT and railroads will also receive an at-large assessment for the drainages coming from those road right-of-ways, and also the railroad will be charged a supplemental benefit for the work that will be done on their railroad crossing as part of the maintenance, and that will be taken up from the total project cost. Counties and road commissions will be assessed in a large assessment for the runoff from county road right-of-ways. And this is solely based on the benefit to public roads. We use 14A calculations to calculate the percentage, but that's not necessarily required. I talked to some drain commissioners at the conference last week who just go like 10% across the board, 10% to the county, township, any other municipality that might be in the drainage district. So for the county, we're looking at somewhere between 6 and 6.5%. So right around $300,000 will be assessed to the county at large. And this is the 14A calculation, what looks at all the acreage and everything, and so in the runoff.
That $300,000 will be payable over what period of time, Steve?
It depends on the county. We're going to be bonding this for a 20-year bond. But the county can pay that up front if they so desire, or pay it early. I think there is a project of this size. From what I understand, there might be a period of time where you can't pay it early. You either pay it up front, or I think after a period of 5 to 10 years, then you can pay it off. But once you go into bonds, you can't pay it off right away, from what I understand.
Can we pause for a second? Tom, did you have a question?
Not on that particular. It was a new question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
We had a few days of rain.
Yes.
Just a few days ago, and it's hard for it to soak into the ground. Did that cause any flooding in the Cass Road area or anywhere else in the county?
I did hear some other places where there was some minor flooding. Luckily, we didn't receive the kind of rain that we received last October or what they received downstate. So it was full. Our basins were full. The stream channel was full. But thank goodness I stopped in there yesterday morning, and the building there for Milliken Millworks and for Great Lakes Malting was dry.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. So property owners will pick up the remainder of the cost of the project based on benefits derived. There's no definition in the drain code of benefits that defines a benefit. So basically it's factors include acreage, zoning of the property, proximity to work being performed, runoff, how much they generate, and then also flood relief, what kind of benefit they're going to receive as far as flood relief. So as you can see, there's going to be a large increase in this drainage district. but there's also going to be, it's going to cost more, and we're going to do it right, and we're going to get it done right the first time, or this time. And so folks can appeal during what's called the day of review. They have a 10-day period after the day of review that they can appeal, and then and they can go to probate court, but a bond is required to do that because they are required to pay for the costs if they are found to be, no basis for the appeal. Here's the tentative project schedule. We're looking at March 19th of doing the day of review for the district, drainage district revision, the boundary only. This isn't going to be talking about the apportionments or any of the costs at this point in time. This is just whether folks feel that they are in, they're going to receive a letter saying that they're in this Cass Road Drainage District, and so they can come to this meeting. It's going to be all day on March 19th here at the county training room. The current acres of the existing drain is 145. We're going to increase it up by about 900 acres, put a little over 1,000 acres. And so we're going to be looking at, we're right now conducting easement acquisitions for the outlet pipe, looking at doing final designs. We're getting our permits from the railroad and DEQ. We'll be bidding the project in June. I was kind of hoping a little bit quicker than that so we can get a better price from the contractors. And then we'll have our day of review for the apportionments, and that's the percentage that would be applied to each of these individual properties, and then we should have a good idea of how much our estimated costs are going to be, so they're going to know what their costs are going to be at that point. And then we'll be looking in July as well, coming to you folks for your full faith and credit on the bonds, construction bonds, and the long-term bonds, and then we'll begin construction in August, September, around that time frame, and obviously we'll go into 2019 as well. So like I said, I'll be coming back to you folks in July to obtain, to ask for full faith and credit from the county board. Questions?
Ron?
Steve, there was a loan taken out by the past drain commissioner for that drain.
Correct.
Was it $300,000?
Correct.
And how's that loan getting satisfied?
So what happened, one of the first things that I had to do, because that drain note came due on June 23rd of last year. And so what I had to do is I had to refinance that note, and we added about $175,000 to that. About $100,000 of that we figure is going to be, potential to combat potential legal fees. In other words, if we have to go to court, then we'll at least have the money to go to, to go to court. If we don't use it, then it just, never gets used, and it's as far as it's there though, in case we need it.
But it's paid back by the bonds.
And paid back by the bond.
So it's rolled into the bonds.
So the note, because isn't that note, it's the county's obligation, or is it Garfield Township's obligation?
It is ultimately the county's obligation.
Okay. So that note will get paid back, satisfied, and we won't have that.
Correct.
That's correct. It'll be part of the overall bond issue that'll come before this board.
Okay. Chris, do you know, is that the county's or is that Garfield Township's true obligation?
This question came up when it was first issued, and when it was first issued, the county did not pay it pledged its full faith and credit.
Right.
And so ultimately, it's the responsible of the people in the drainage district. So does that answer your question?
Is that all Garfield Township?
Yes, I mean, those business, it would be
Township, yeah.
those property owners in Garfield Township. It wouldn't be necessarily Garfield Township themselves, it would be the residents of, in the existing drainage district.
And if nothing would have, if this here drainage district hadn't been expanded to where it's at. It's going to end up being a project. It's going to end up getting bonded at this point.
Right.
But at the time of getting that money, there was no clear direction of where it was headed. I'm just wondering how
did it happen in the first?
How can the money, and I know the drain commissioner can borrow up to $300,000 on a drain district,
Correct.
which then there's already a district there.
Well, there is a provision in the law, and I don't have it in front of me, and I'd have to do further research and look at it, but from my memory of kind of thinking through, like, well, what would be the worst-case scenario? If this money was loaned, the district is never established, what would happen? The absolute worst-case scenario is the holder of the note would say there's a default and would file suit against the drain commissioner. That'd be the nuclear option. The other worst-case scenario would be, under law, even a failed project, nonetheless, the cost could still be assessed against the property owners. Now, again, I don't have the law in front of me, so I don't know the exact details on how that works, but I am familiar with that section of the code, and something like that would be allowed under the code.
Which would be, nothing's done, but they would still be assessed, so we don't want to.
Right, no, we might as well get the project done, but I was just curious on that, so bottom line is, we won't be absorbing that extra $300,000.
That's all going to be rolled into the total project cost.
Okay, thank you.
So the county has, worst-case scenario, $300,000 that they will participate in this drainage, Cass Road drain. Will be coming back for full faith and credit, and notices will be going out to the residents. So we felt that it was important that this board know the process and that the residents will be notified. So if you get calls, you have the full scope of the drainage district and the process that it's going through.
Sonny, did you have something?
Well, I think the obviously apparent process is the fact that the existing drain that was established in 1987 is not meeting the current needs of the community. It's that simple. There's way too much flooding here now, and whether, many of these buildings that we're talking about here were built there in the late 80s and the early 90s. So, we didn't adequately apply drainage enough on those developments. And as the mall extended to expand, and then the Walmart side of the highway expanded, then, that drainage had to go somewhere. And, it's a half a mile, but it's all downhill. And water will run that direction. It's just, we've proven that many times. So, I think the deal here is that we've done a good job putting together a plan of how we're going to move forward. And we can talk all we want about, well, it should have been done differently 35 years ago, but the fact is that we can't go back and change the way it was done then. And I'm not sure that the people that did the drain in 1987 could have anticipated what's happened since either, and so we've done a good thing here. We're trying to develop a plan moving forward, and the county will participate in their share. I'm sure the road commission's going to participate in their share, and the property owners. I haven't heard from any of the property owners along Cass Road that are unhappy about this plan. They're unhappy about the flooding that's happening on their property, but I haven't heard that they're unhappy about their plan.
Do you have any sense of the total project cost yet at all?
Not yet. I mean, because, the bidding can vary so widely. I'd just rather not put a number out there that, sticks with people, because I really don't know. For sure.
If Steve's out there with a shovel and a rake, well, no, the bid came in too high.
You got that right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much. Do you need anything from us today?
No, just
No,
I
it was
wanted
just
to get it before
informative.
you folks, just before the budget, because I know we're going into, the 2019 budget, starting to get that prepared, and so I talked to Gene and Dean, and they thought this would be the best thing to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will move on to the Finance Department. Dean?
Your first item is the claims for the month of January. They're summarized on page 80, and we're asking for your approval.
Motion to approve the claims as provided.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Wheelock, supported by Commissioner Klaus. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We have some budget amendments.
Yes, we have, the next item are budget amendments that we're asking for your approval on, starting on page 83. I don't know if you have any particular questions, but they're pretty standard. The one on page 85 is additional funding for the Health Department estate grant. That's a fairly large adjustment, but the amendments are all customary, standard. There's a large one on the last one for the Capital Improvement Fund, which is basically budgeting the fund balance that is available in that fund to cover the projects that were included in your 2018 budget. So asking for your approval for those amendments.
We have a motion?
A motion to approve the fiscal year 2018 budget amendments.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Mayer, supported by Commissioner Klaus. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, we have planning, a resolution from Garfield Township. Jean?
It's a resolution from Garfield Township that was sent, and I forwarded also to all of the townships relative to waiving the right for the Planning Commission to review zoning ordinance. And as identified on page 88 of your packet in my memo, this does not eliminate the Planning Commission. We still have a proposal from Networks Northwest that we are reviewing, and that they would be doing the master plans to come before the Planning Commission. But this is just the zoning ordinance amendments, zoning amendments. And Garfield Township, they have submitted one zoning amendment, and when they submit, they have to wait 30 days before they can act on it. So for Garfield and for any township not to be able to have the ability to just wait 30 days doesn't seem conducive to doing business. So with that, there's no harm to waive the right for us, and then they can start doing their amendments. Rob Lorea is here as well. He is the Garfield Township Planning Director and can answer any questions as well. And I have reviewed this with Chris Forsyth as well as Nate, and trying to get a recommendation to you relative to the Planning Commission and the proposal from Networks Northwest, hoping by your March 7th meeting.
Okay. Do you have any
Rob,
questions?
want to say anything?
Here's Rob.
I guess he does. Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Rob Lorea, Garfield Township. Gene just summed it up pretty well there. This is just something that's kind of a burden on applicants as well as township. They have to wait the 30 days, since things have changed since John's left. And the Planning Commission looking at quarterly meetings. So this is something that we have several amendments that are coming up right now. And would love to have you guys pass this so that we didn't have to wait the additional 30 days and we can get some of this stuff on the books. Really, I came up here for any questions, so if you have any, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Go ahead, Sonny.
Well, I think the point is, and we've had the discussion before, Michigan's a home rule state. The townships are the ones that have the authority over zoning and requirements. The county does not. And I made the comments before that there was a time a number of years ago, I was old enough, I've been here long enough to remember them, but most of you haven't, when the townships were not actively pursuing zoning and planning in their own communities. So they relied on the county to be a key piece of their zoning and planning organization. We're past that. And all of the townships, basically every one of them now either has a planner on staff or a firm under contract. So they don't need Grand Traverse County to review everything they go to do about planning and zoning. So I think there is a redundancy with the county, trying to do it. And basically, I hate to say that it became a rubber stamp process, but, the county had no authority to change it anyway. The townships were the ones that were writing the zoning requirements and the planning changes. So, the townships were tied up for 30 days or longer, depending on, how meeting schedules fit and everything else, to be able to take action on changing their own zoning plan. And we need to remind ourselves that it is the township zoning plan, it's not the county. So I think elimination of this just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, no, you're absolutely right. Michigan being a home rules type state, there's already layers of review at the township level. But if I could add to that, the problem that I see with the Zoning Enabling Act and what it says is, I don't see what criteria the county planning commission should apply when reviewing proposed zoning ordinance amendments. I also have a problem with the way that the statute is worded. You could make an argument, do we even legally need to review all zoning ordinance amendments? The way it's worded, I'm not sure if we do. The way I read it, it's more for a township that maybe lacked zoning but decided to have a zoning ordinance, and so it's now a proposed zoning ordinance, and that's when the review would kick in. But I agree with you. I don't think it's...
There was a time that was the case, but it's not now.
It's not now. You're absolutely right.
That's what the Enabling Act took care of.
Anybody else?
Well, I did go back to Traverse Ticker story of January 17th, 2018, where John Syke sent a memo out, and several paragraphs of comments that he made, if the public would want to go back to that. January 17th of 2018. The title is County Eyes Animal Control Upgrades, Planning and Soil Erosion Overhaul, because, one of the comments, the very last one that Syke makes is, planning at the county or regional level would also allow for a more efficient land use plan for a larger land area, the overseeing all the townships, villages, city, and I think there is a good reason to have some part of the county spending time on planning. And I can see why people are moving in this direction, but I also see that if that same request was sent to all the townships and only Garfield responded, maybe it would be nice to hold off making any changes until we hear from the other townships. Sonny had a question a couple meetings ago, why don't we just ask the townships what they would like the county to do for planning? And I posed that question to Garfield at a Garfield Township meeting. I didn't get much of a response.
Can I just... Those are all good points, but I think we got to be clear when we use the word planning. So there's a difference between planning and zoning. So planning is, what is the character of your community? What direction should that character go as far as development and uses and the like, versus zoning, which is the nuts and bolts. Certain accessory uses are only allowed, or two-family residential is allowed here. So certainly planning at a county level is important, but that's planning, and what we're talking about right now is zoning.
Right, I understand.
And so that is a critical difference.
I think without question, there's a distinct difference between zoning and planning, and I believe the county will have a place in planning, probably as much on a regional basis as we do. We have a regional responsibility to deal with planning and long-term planning. I don't believe that we should be involved in specific zoning requirements for the townships.
Well, even John Syke refers to there is a difference between planning and zoning in his comments that were published, so. I just, I just feel like we're also on the side talking about, changing our planning department. We obviously changed it when we lost our planning director. We still have a planning commission, and I'm just trying to slow the process down, be thoughtful of things that the county planning commission could be doing, not necessarily the zoning, so.
And we're not eliminating the Planning Commission. We have the proposal from Networks Northwest, and they will be meeting on a quarterly basis, and that's what we moved to in 2017, and is on an as-needed basis. But the zoning piece for the Planning Commission really is not a component of a Planning Commission, county Planning Commission oversight.
Madam Chairman, I would move that Grand Traverse County eliminate its requirement on the townships to submit zoning changes to the county for review.
Okay.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Wheelock, supported by Commissioner Klaus. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Does that
It
still?
fails.
It fails because it has to be
Yeah.
4.
Oh, it has to be 4?
It has to be 4.
Oh, okay, because we're short members tonight.
We are.
All right, I'll change my vote, I'll go for it.
Is that
I'll vote
okay?
yes.
So it's 4 yes?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Tom. Let's see, wow, moving right along. We have no unfinished business, no new business. Move right on to second public comment. You have something else?
I do want to just update the board on the facilities director.
Okay.
And this new facilities director is, as identified last week, is Joe Berry, and he will be starting next Monday, the 26th.
Okay, good.
And the resource recovery has declined to take the job, so
Okay.
we will be reviewing and doing a second interview with another candidate.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. We'll move on to second public comment. Is there anybody out there who would like to make public comment? Nobody's jumping up. Any commissioner department reports? All 4 of us okay?
Things are good.
Things are good. Okay. No notices? We don't need a closed session?
No.
Okay. Then we are adjourned. Thank you very much.